Fala galera, JesusCopy, Douglas Gonçalves por aqui para mais um JesusCopy Podcast. Toda segunda-feira, 10 da manhã, estamos aqui juntos. E eu estou recebendo de volta um convidado aqui pela segunda vez e uma convidada pela primeira vez, né? E quando eu gravei, eu estava na casa deles e agora eles estão aqui em casa para a gente gravar dessa vez. Então, fica por aí que vai ser muito bom esse podcast. Então, eu vou te avisar, nós vamos fazer o podcast em inglês, tá? Então, você vai ver aí ele com legenda, ok? Se você tiver no Spotify, se você tiver só no áudio, você precisa entender inglês. Se você está, então, nessas plataformas de áudio e você não entende inglês, você vai ter que ir para o YouTube, porque vai estar legendado lá para todos vocês. Beleza? Vamos embora? Tá preparado para isso? Então, vamos. Jennifer, Dwayne Roberts.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you in my house.
Amen.
It's an honor to be here.
100%.
We had so much fun with you when you were with us in the States. It's great to be here in Brazil.
We're trying to have a new culture here.
Yeah.
The 5 crowns. You know, the game that you taught us?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So we brought the game and we're trying to teach everyone, you know.
It's a fun game.
We loved
awesome.
it.
It's
It's a
awesome.
great game.
And it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
I like
just to count there. Yeah, it's good. So we had so much fun there and we were so blessed and we were so happy to have you here. So they came to our 5th anniversary in the Família JesusCopy and for the JesusCopy conference. So if you didn't watch, we're going to post Dwayne's message, okay? It was great. The conference was great.
Amazing.
But I want to talk to you a little bit about your life and some other stuff. And I want to start asking, how did you guys meet? Like, how was that?
I will let her tell her version first.
Okay. How long have you been married?
We've been married 31 years.
31? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're old.
So you were married like with 10 years old?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Exactly. We were married at 22.
Yeah, both 22.
We met when we were 19.
I was 18.
Okay, you tell the story. You tell your version.
Okay, I'll tell.
Bem rápido.
Okay, I'll tell the. Oh yeah, like no one else understands Portuguese. I'll tell the correct version. Dwayne and I met in 1988 during the Winter Olympics.
I was born in 88.
You were.
Seriously? Nossa.
Okay.
June 13th, 88.
Wow.
Okay, he can call us mom and dad now.
Yeah,
It's like next level. So I went to do evangelism for the Olympics and
It was in my city, Calgary.
Yeah.
Calgary.
In my church.
Which state?
It's Alberta.
In Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in Canada. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Forgot
So
this Canadian.
it's this whole other country. And so I went up there, and Dwayne and I were witnessing partners. But before that, he had a surgery on his knee. I didn't know that. And so he had these funky pants on that were covering like a brace. So he was walking really funny, like drag thump.
With a bad limp.
With a really bad limp. And he was kind of quiet. But he picked us up at the airport. So my friend and I are behind him walking, and she says, "Is he a little bit simple?" And I'm like, "I don't think so, because he drives." You know?
I hope not.
I hope not.
But now we know he is. No,
We found out.
we found out.
And so my first impression was she had crazy hair.
Really?
That looked like a poodle.
It was the 80s, baby.
It was the 80s, right?
So I was like, meu Deus. So, because all our other friends, that was a little bit pre-perm hair when you had that tight curly hair.
Yeah, I've always been cutting edge, though, right, baby?
Okay.
No, my hair was huge.
Huge.
So the bigger the hair, the closer to God, we say.
Okay.
So I was living that dream.
So you went to his city to evangelize.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah,
Winter
the Winter Olympics. Yep.
And so we weren't really interested in each other in a romantic way at all. But we started a little friendship. So this is pre-email. Okay,
Yeah.
this is where you actually would write a letter and
Really?
send it.
Oh, yeah.
And so she wanted to go to Youth with a Mission in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And I was, according to her, I was a compromiser
Compromiser.
because I wanted to go to Youth with a Mission Hawaii.
Okay.
Come on, man. You don't go for the beach. I was going to go to minister to prostitutes and drug
You gotta
addicts.
suffer, right?
Yeah. You got to suffer. He's going to go surf? Come on. So I was judgy, all that to say.
So long story short, we both ended up in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And we were in different ministries. And even when we got there, we were still focused in other areas.
And he had another girlfriend.
Okay.
But we
okay.
became friends.
Yeah.
And for us, that would be the foundation of our marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I'm actually very grateful that we got to know each other in a friendship before a romantic relationship. Because that would now be, even today, our foundation is friendship.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we enjoy each other. We still laugh with each other today. But the foundation would be a friendship, you know.
Yeah. Someone told me when I was single, you gotta marry someone who you like to talk.
Yeah.
Because in the end, that's all you're gonna do.
It's true.
Yeah, you talk. You're
You talk.
together.
Yeah.
You gotta like each other.
Yeah.
Communication.
Totally,
Yeah.
hanging out together.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're at the place now where our kids are leaving our house.
Yeah.
And we still enjoy each other.
Yeah.
So now that our kids are leaving, we're not threatened.
Right.
We're not afraid of our marriage or our relationship, and to me that's a blessing.
Yes.
That I'm excited still about my relationship.
And-
My marriage is the best thing in my life.
Yeah, mine too.
And
Awesome.
so for that,
That's
I'm
so good
very
to hear.
grateful.
And how did it happen? Like in Amsterdam?
It's so hard to talk about our marriage because even looking back, it never felt super hard. And so maybe...
But I mean,
No,
like,
but
how did you start
how did we-
dating? Yeah.
well, that's a whole other story, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was, my eyes began to open, and I was interested.
Different way.
I got a different
way.
haircut.
Yes, she was not so. Yeah. Anyways,
Moving forward.
I'll keep my mouth shut. So, she was not still very open. Her parents were in the middle of a divorce.
Okay.
And her friend, I went and talked to her friend. Her friends, leave her alone. She's in the middle of this. And so, but I couldn't hold it back. And so we went to, the first time we went out together, how many restaurants? 2?
One restaurant, 2
restaurant.
cafes, and a
And
carnival.
an amusement park.
Oh.
So we did that all in one evening. And so on the way home, I brought up, hey, what do you think about us? And she put it back on me. But I think in the beginning, you were still fearful, a little
absolutely.
cautious. You were
Absolutely.
cautious. Her parents' marriage was falling apart. So you were very cautious. And it took you time to kind of just get comfortable with saying, hey, I want to have a serious relationship.
Absolutely. I would say, honestly, Dwayne was the first human being I trusted.
Really?
Like, my parents lost my trust when I was a child, just through brokenness and lots of bad choices. So I learned early on I had to take care of myself.
Okay.
I couldn't trust them. So to trust and to be vulnerable enough to fall in love was the scariest thing in my life. And so when he, on that walk after our long escapade, when he said, what do you think about us in a relationship? I was certainly not going to answer first. And I said, I don't know. What do you think?
Okay.
And, everything went back to him because that was way too risky for me to expose myself.
The thing that was the grace of God, I think, in the beginning of is we decided to date. We were seriously looking at marriage, and we went to a marriage counselor, preparation for marriage guy.
Okay.
And he had us do a test to evaluate ourselves. Mm-hmm. And he asked some questions, and in it, he would kind of we'd evaluate ourselves, and then we had to evaluate each other.
Okay.
In terms of temperament.
Okay.
So how I respond when I'm mad, sad, and glad, and how he thinks I respond when I'm mad, sad, and glad, and vice versa.
Okay.
So it's to see how
So
well
good.
you know each other.
And the thing, there was just, he put down hers, and then he put on top of it what I saw, and it was incredible how it was the same.
Okay.
And that brought a rest to her. He knows me and he still wants me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Right, exactly. No, because I was very honest in the test. I'm like, if he really wants to marry me, because he fell in love faster than I did for my fear issues. So I thought, I don't know if he actually knows me. And if he does, he may not really want me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when he took this test, and it was things like becomes dominant when insecure. No one's looking for that in a girl. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not, they're looking for blonde, blue eyes, humor, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Not that. And so I was really vulnerable on the test, really showed all of my weakness without holding back, because this is the time to break up before we get married. So I was pretty sure, because we took the test and then came back a week later for the results, I was pretty sure we'd break up, because
Really?
who would want that? That was my perspective. And so first they did my test over him, and I was pretty good. I knew him pretty well, but I was off in a few areas. But his understanding of me was exact. And so it was honestly one of the deepest moments of my life to be loved at that level. And then as we're walking home, I'm holding his hand, I'm in silence just because I can't believe he really knows the messy stuff of me and chooses me. And in that moment, the Lord said to me, and he's just a man.
Yeah.
How much more of you do I know and still love? And it was a moment for Dwayne and I, and it was a moment for me and the Lord. Just that I am known in my mess. And it just brought a level of peace and security.
That's so good. Laura was here, Laura Soguedes.
Yeah.
And she told me about a book. I don't know if you have ever heard it. It's The Road Less Traveled.
Yes.
Oh. And he was, and the author says that in our house, when we are loved, we feel valued.
Yes.
So you're saying that you were in a house that was not, it was
Crazy.
How do you say, crazy?
Yeah.
And
It was not.
yeah, and then you don't feel loved.
Yeah.
And you don't feel valued.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't feel worthy of love.
You don't know your value. You don't
Yeah.
know you're worthy, and then
Yeah.
all these insecurities,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then someone has to come
Yeah.
and do the thing that you didn't have there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. So then you started dating, and then you got married there?
No, we went back to Washington State, where I'm from, and got married and stayed there for a few months before going back to Amsterdam.
Okay. And then you're not studying anymore. You were like in a mission there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was working with kind of the YWAM DTS schools, and she was focused more on the outreach before married, and then when we came back, we really went into the training part of YWAM for another 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So how important was to be married in the midst of mission? Because you were in a mission together, right? Mm-hmm. And was it good? Was it more challenge than you think?
It's a really good question. I think I had this, I don't know where I got this desire, but it was in my mind that I really don't know where I got this, but I wanted a partner. I wanted to do partnerships. So early, I wanted to get married a little bit younger because I wanted to do things and form what I am becoming in my ministry together. So we got married young at 22, but it was beautiful though, because in that we really formed a partnership. So we didn't have children. Our first child was 5 years later.
Okay.
And we really got to form and grow together. And it was beautiful. And so for us, it really worked to be in the midst of mission and in the first parts of our marriage. For us, it worked.
Yeah, I think it worked really well. I had a different desire than Dwayne. I wanted to be married around 30 because I wanted to have something. I was independent. I wanted to have something to bring.
Yeah.
I was so afraid of being someone's possession.
Yeah.
So
and it's like you want to have a plan B, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't work.
If it doesn't work, I can still support myself.
Yeah, that's right. So I think one thing that I noticed right away, because we were single during missions and then married during missions, and we traveled a lot as singles, but then traveling and doing ministry as a married couple, it was like home went with me. So even if we were in a different nation for 3 months at a time, home was always with me. And so I enjoyed that. It was a sense of safety for me that I really enjoyed. It was a benefit I didn't expect to receive, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So.
I think that's so important because sometimes we see marriage as this position, right?
Yeah.
One in front of each other.
Yeah.
But I think marriage is more of this position,
Yes.
right? Both looking to something, right?
Yes.
Like shoulder to shoulder, looking to a mission,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Because a lot of time when we are counseling, the man is complaining about the wife's complaining about the husband because they are looking to each other, right?
Yeah,
And seeing all the faults and all.
Yes.
I don't like this, I don't like that. But when you're in the mission, like sometimes you don't have time for that.
It's true. You're going somewhere.
Yeah.
And where are we going? And so for me, Ephesians 5 is so, in some perspectives, so in my opinion, so misunderstood because it starts off because the translators of the Bible, they separate. So you've got
the verse, right?
Yes, submit first to one another.
Yeah.
Then wives submit, and then husbands take the leadership. But for me, how we have viewed that and how I have viewed that is leadership there. It means I am responsible to really find out who my wife is and then my children are, and it's my job to bring them to their destiny.
Okay.
And
to lay yourself down
and
for
to
them.
lay myself down for them.
That.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've always had this partnership. So what's the decision? If we can't get on a big decision, if we're not at peace, we don't make it.
Okay.
Because we want a partnership. And if it goes wrong, it's my responsibility.
Okay.
That's how we viewed this. And so we've always been moving forward. And in that, we want to do it together. And we've had different roles.
Yeah.
Like there's been times where I've been more out front or more, seen perhaps or whatever, but we've always had a partnership.
And I've always felt deeply respected and valued by Dwayne. Like he doesn't see me as inferior at all. Like no one should see someone as that.
Yeah.
But even when once we had kids and I had to pull back a little bit more, he still deeply valued my opinion and my thoughts, and we had great conversations. So I've always felt connected to the mission, even when he was more actively involved than I was.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Because we had a huge transition. We were doing YWAM together. And when we came back to the States and we got into IHOP, it just how life works. We had a 1.5-year-old, everything kind of, and so I was way more active. And it was a transition for our marriage. And we had some bumps in there. Mm-hmm. Okay, we got new functions within the context of our lives, and how do we work that out? But we've always really wanted to have a friendship partnership in our marriage.
Yeah.
And how was for you guys, because you were married since the beginning in the mission, how was for you guys the topic money? Because when you get married, because when you're single, let's do it.
100%.
We eat anything, sleep anywhere, right?
Totally.
But when you get married, you want to have something, a house, stability, and how was that?
Well, we still lived like that.
Yeah, right.
For a long time. I think until we had kids, we still were very, very mobile.
We, in our first year of marriage, how many different places?
27.
So just part of it was because we're in missions, so we're moving all over. So we lived very mobile up until, for the first 3-4 years of our marriage.
Yeah, for sure.
We got an apartment and stabilized a little bit. So we lived, and so it worked.
Okay.
And then it was when we moved to the States where, we wanted to get a little bit more stable, get a house, blah, blah, blah.
But I never felt like it was Dwayne's responsibility to provide something substantial financially.
Okay.
I said, let's both trust God for that.
Okay.
And so it became a place that we would pray together. And I didn't look at him like, leave this and go provide for me. Both of us felt strongly that God would take care of us.
But you've always had the gift of faith in the context of our finances and our calling. So a very important, I think, moment in our marriage was when we moved back to the States. And
After Europe?
After Europe. So 29 years old, we're moving to Kansas City. And as we're driving there, I'm like, we're doing the math kind of on the draw, cost of living and how much we got coming in. And we still had YWAM, financial supporters for missions. And
because we were going to do a study sabbatical. It was before IHOP started.
So we were going to do 1 year. And I said, I'm going to have to get a job. We can't live off of this. And she says, She goes, God did not call us here for then you to go get a job.
Yeah.
And she spoke that into us. And so about a week later, somebody paid our entire rent for the whole year. So that's that gift of faith that she has kept us on our mission, even in the area of finances specifically.
Yeah. Because sometimes we have the opposite, right? The wife can do that, or the husband can do that to pressure the other to go out of his purpose, her purpose, because of the finances, right? Yeah, that's so good.
No,
so
we were in it together. We felt that.
But you've done that a couple times with that gift of faith.
I am great.
Well,
just realize.
Yeah, I'm just cluing in.
No, but we're going to get to our weaknesses in a moment.
In a moment.
No, we'll cut to commercial at that point.
So good. So were your family as well a little crazy or more stable?
Depends on your perspective. But my dad was a pastor.
Okay.
So we had.
Were your parents Christians?
No.
Okay.
Like true hippies. Like
true hippies.
Like partied with Janis Joplin in San Francisco. So real hippie family. Okay. Like hippie.
Hippie.
And mine was kind of a Canadian version of Assemblies of God. Okay. So appearance was important. We're a Christian family. But in the home, there was enough dysfunction, craziness,
But you had a loving family.
I had a stable home.
A stable home, yeah. Where my dad went to prison, so very different atmospheres.
And how was the process of you being healed in your soul and your emotions and everything? Long. And I think in my 20s, I think it's the story or history of most of our audience, right?
Yes.
We're not you are, and me too, right? Yep. My house was stable. I think your story is more common.
Well, I just we just need to give a little bit more perspective. Okay. So, do you know Charles Manson?
Yeah.
The crazy murder guy.
The crazy guy, huh?
He babysat her brothers for the weekend with another couple.
Oh my God!
So that crazy.
This level.
Level of crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're living in San Francisco. Her father gets charged with a 6-inch marijuana plant. Okay, and back then that was 15 years in prison.
Okay.
So they were in Seattle. So he jumps.
No, they were in San Francisco.
But he was in Seattle, got charged. So he jumps parole and runs away to San Francisco. Meets her mom, get pregnant, and then his parents phone, if you don't come back, we will lose our house. So he goes back. Because of the parole, the bond. So they move up there. He's going to jail for 15 years.
Oh, my God.
And they move to the city where the state prison is. And then after 15 months, the law changed and he got out.
Okay.
But just incredible instability. So 5 older brothers, drugs, craziness.
Yeah, all of that.
Okay.
So in my 20s, I gave myself to pursue healing and in my soul. But it was only, I think only I could actually face the pain of my childhood and upbringing once I was in an environment that was safe.
Okay.
And so, you know, because there was so much was coming up for the first time, like sexual abuse, remembering things that I'd always known, but didn't ever want to stop for a second to think about. And so now I'm in an environment where I am safe for the first time. And so things are coming up. But now I'm thinking, poor Dwayne, he married this confident, awesome girl, and now she's crying all day. You know what I mean? Yes. And I thought, I hate being needy. I mean, I don't think anyone likes to be needy.
But you particularly hate
it.
You hate to be weak.
Yes. Yeah, I had 5 older brothers. Don't cry like a girl. Quit acting like a girl. Don't throw the ball like a girl. So girls are bad.
Okay.
Right? So that's my worldview, and now I'm that girl. Now I'm crying and I'm weak, and how could he be attracted to that? So I had just a sweet moment where the Holy Spirit showed me that this was his timing. It was his timing to use Dwayne and the Lord coming together to provide that safe structure for me to be healed.
Okay.
And so I just pursued it. You know what I mean? I read books about sexual abuse, how to overcome, get in the Word, read. You know, how does God heal? What did it look like for Mary to be healed? And I would imagine the process that they would walk through. And so.
But she went after it with focus.
Okay.
Yeah, I went after it.
You wanted it.
Yeah, I wanted it because I saw a few glimpses of my future if I didn't.
Okay.
I saw people having breakdowns at 40.
You saw in other people.
Yeah. Okay. And I went, oh. I remember going to some group. It was, I don't know, adult children of dysfunctional families or something like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm 22 and I'm hearing, you know, these people introduce themselves. Hi, I'm John. I'm the adult child of a, you know, whatever. But they were like 50 and 55. And I'm like, whoa, they're still talking about what happened when they were 6. God, isn't the cross available? It does redeem, right? And it just pushed me into that, you're my only hope of recovery. You're my only hope of healing. And so I just took that seriously.
And you did not take the position of being a victim.
No. Mm-mm.
So she did not want to be a victim.
Mm-mm.
And so then what does it mean to overcome?
Yeah.
What does the story of redemption look like in our lives? And that was very important to you.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah. Okay, so good. And what is the role or the importance of the prayer and the prayer room and all this environment that you guys lived so long for this kind of process of transformation and sanctification?
It's going to discovering the place of prayer has changed several things in my perspective and how I view my life. And one of the fundamental things would come from 2 Corinthians chapter 3. The end of that chapter, Paul says, we are not like the children of Israel because their minds have been blinded. This veil, which is Jesus, we can now go into the presence of God. And then he says, as we behold him, so as we contemplate and meditate on looking on him, it's in that place where we're transformed. Because what we look on, we become. Okay. So what you focus, you become. And that has been, for my life, the single most powerful place of transformation is by looking at God and then understanding God looking at me. Mm-hmm. You know, it's very simple. We love him because he first loved us. Okay. So that idea. And that would be the transformation of the place of prayer in my life, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think sitting with the Lord in authenticity, like I just really knew that he saw everything. Okay. So I couldn't hide from him. He sees it anyway.
You can't pretend.
No. So I made him my ally.
Yes.
in my pain and in my prayer life instead of trying to perform before him because he already knew. And so the context of a prayer room allowed me to go again and again and again to sit before him and talk and ask him for his perspective. So it was personal and then also intercession as well, looking outward. And then I found him at the kitchen sink too, because he's the God that walks through walls and he's not contained to a building.
But you, she got saved at 16.
16.
Yes. So I was raised in the church. So you had such a radical conversion because you went from darkness to light.
Yeah.
That she actually had more of a prayer life than I did.
I was going to say that because this thing of
Because you
pretending.
noticed it? Because you noticed he didn't have much of a prayer life?
It's so in your face. It's a challenge for us who was raised in the church to be real.
Yes.
To be, because we learned how to pretend and to put the clothes and the tone of voice and the right words.
Hello, brother.
Hello, brother. Hallelujah.
Authenticity, she was just raw before the Lord. Yeah. And the Psalms, early on in your life, even just, it was the language of your heart.
It was. It was. Yeah. Like I think of Psalm 73, verse 21 through 26. It says, when my heart was grieved and my spirit embittered, I was senseless, I was ignorant, I was a brute beast before you. So I'm reading this passage as my parents are going through a divorce. And I'm like, that's in the Bible. And those were the things I felt. I felt senseless. I felt ignorant. I felt like a wild animal before the Lord. And then it says, yet I am always with you. And afterward, I will guide you with my right hand. Whom have I in heaven but you? Nothing I desire beside you. So we know that famous part of the verse.
Yeah, but without the introduction, right?
Right. But without the true understanding of knowing God's loyalty to us in our dark places, we won't say those things.
Right.
And so that transparency in prayer is amazing. Like I feel most known in that place.
And it's a revelation when we can't be real, that we still not believe entirely in the grace, right?
Yeah.
Because we're afraid.
Yes.
And performance.
Yeah. We're afraid, like, if I'm honest, he won't love me.
Right.
If I'm honest, he won't like me or desire me, right?
Yeah.
But I think that there's a little bit of a healthy reach within those that have been in the church for a long time for authenticity.
Yeah.
What we're experiencing in our new little church plant is when Jennifer and I open up and be real.
Yeah.
All of them, and some of them have been in the church for years, but they're going, oof, I want to be vulnerable and I want to be real.
Yes.
And there's you will only go into some depth when you are real and vulnerable with the Lord and then even with others.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, because you have a friend and then in the suffering, he becomes a brother, right?
Come on.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just have friends, right? Yep. Because we never share.
Yes.
Yeah.
For them to become brothers, right?
Yes.
And sisters.
And it's something that I have noticed in Brazil is that there is a fear within some of the church culture that if I am real, I will be rejected.
Okay.
If I'm real, I'll be disciplined. That whole mentality. And that is not the heart of God.
No.
And we need to encourage people to be able to fail. We need, not encourage them to be able to fail, but set an environment for them to be real. And even if you see my dirt, I love you.
Yeah.
That's power. Like even what we're talking at lunch, that idea of, hey, if you even stumble, I'm here for you. That's powerful. And this generation has not seen much of that.
Yeah, Brazil has a really legalistic environment, right? We're trying to change it, but we have a lot of this in the church, and it sets an environment for that, right? For hypocrisy and for theater. It's like a theater.
Yeah.
And when me and Val is there behind the cameras, when we were in your house, something that really blessed us, and we're trying to grow. It's about praying together.
Yeah.
Me and her. Because we had our prayer lives, right? But it was so weird to pray together because she was listening to my prayers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And she was taking notes to correct me. You said this together?
She was live tweeting, right?
Yeah. Just kidding. But that's what you feel, like judged.
It's vulnerable.
Because for example, when I pray in the microphone in the church,
it's perfect.
And you have like this idea. They are listening. So
yes.
It's different when you pray in your heart. So, and then you guys prayed together, and we saw that, and you talked about that. And I want to know, like, when did it started for you guys? Do you do this since the beginning? And how did you manage not to get weird this time?
Well, what was it? We haven't always done it.
Okay.
And it actually started from a place of kind of a real crisis. I mean, just one of those times in your life where you're needing God, and we were in a little bit of a desperate place, and so I said,
and a lot of pain.
A lot of pain, and so I said to her on December 28th of 2020, I said, "There's only one way for us to go forward, where we pray the Bible every day. Now, should we do it separately or should we do it together?" And she said, "Let's do it together." And so that day we started. And you're desperate. So when you're desperate, that real cry comes out. And so we just started from the place of being desperate.
Okay.
Show us who you are. Come to us. And it was beautiful because I would see her real cry before the Lord.
So good.
And she would see my real cry. And it wasn't this, "Oh, Father, just come and we pray for these people." No, it was, "God, we need you. Show us who you are. We're desperate."
And even, "God, I'm so mad."
Yeah.
You know, it's just being out loud.
I'm hurt. I'm in pain.
I'm
whatever.
so hurt here. Help me forgive. I'm
Yes.
mad. I need you, you know. Yeah. And so that helped us stay unified and in reaching for the Lord together.
Yes.
Before, when people would say married couples need to pray, I mean, we did when we needed to, but it hadn't been
Not a
something.
routine.
It wasn't a routine.
And it wasn't something that was life-giving, really.
Right. It felt forced. You know what I mean? And it's
Let's
something.
pray together here.
Yeah.
Yes,
all of
exactly.
that. Where this was so authentic for us.
Yes.
And we needed it. And then, we would mainly go through the Psalms.
Okay.
Because you just hear the cry of the human heart in the Psalms. It's so authentic.
If you want real, go to the Psalms.
Yeah. I mean, David, who says, "My throat is hoarse from crying out for you. Where are you, O God?"
That's
a desperate cry.
My family has left me. I'm alone. Psalm 27. I would have lost hope unless I had believed in the God.
The goodness of God.
The goodness of God in the land of the living. So there's just such real, authentic reach and cry and pain that we loved it.
Yeah.
It was
it
is the only thing that put air back into our lives.
Absolutely.
If we would not have done that, I fear we would have.
Yes.
We sat there and said, we're at a Y right now. We can either go right and we're just going to coast the rest of our lives, or we can go left and we can go deep, work through forgiveness, and come out with gold because we found more of our God in this process.
Yes. And that's what
do you go like in the sequence of Psalms?
No.
No? You jump around.
Yeah, we might. Maybe we'll start that at some point, but we would just, I think we spent a month in Psalm 139.
Oh, really?
Because it's so good.
I don't know if it was a month, but we were there a long time.
A long time.
And just,
Psalm 23, same thing.
And then we would also get different versions.
Yeah.
Because you kind of just get used to the language.
Yeah.
And so this one, there's something rich in that verse that this one doesn't communicate. So we did that a lot as well. But it was at IHOP, the beginning of IHOP, where there was such an emphasis on praying the Bible.
Yeah.
And the language of the scriptures becoming the language of our hearts. And it's now the thing that I would say has been the most transformative in my life.
Yeah.
You know, and we would go to sometimes like Ephesians. We went through the book of Ephesians. We prayed through it. And I'm telling you, one morning, we're doing Ephesians chapter 1, those first verses. And nobody prayed for me.
Right.
I'm praying the Bible. And the power that God knows my name. He knew my name before the foundation of the world. And that through Jesus, I have been adopted. And it hits me. I have a father. And I start weeping. And I just throw my hands. I have a father, and his name is God.
It was a beautiful moment.
So I had been studying some of those themes, reading those themes, but it was, it was a truly transformative time, and it was praying the Bible, where truth became what I put my faith in, I believed, and then it began to form me.
Yeah. And then what we found at least is when you're praying the Bible, you find out when you have unbelief, because it's hard to pray something you don't believe.
Yeah.
And then you stop and go, God, help me. I don't believe this. I want to, but I don't.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So we would just get honest about that. So like if someone were recording our prayer times, it was messy. It was, not very formulated. And sometimes we cried, stop and get mad. And,
But also, you got massively convicted as well.
Oh, yes.
We're having a prayer time together, and she starts uncontrollably weeping. And it's to the point where I'm watching going, what is going on? I'm like, is she getting delivered? What's going on? Mm-hmm. And so I just sat there and weeping. And she had a picture, and the Lord confronted her of the posture of her heart. Mm-hmm. And it was powerful. Yeah. I mean, it impacted me even.
Yeah.
So, and you're not telling about a conference, right?
No.
Or a retreat or a camp.
No. In our bedroom alone.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a personal question. I think Val has this question as well. How do you pray when he is saying about killing his enemies? I'm gonna kill them, God.
Well, we're from America. We have guns. We know the word is literal, so
I got it. Yeah.
Well, but honestly, there were times I go, God, I am asking for justice.
Yeah.
I'm asking for full repentance from that person.
Okay.
So that's what we would do sometimes, and just call people out by name even.
Justice.
Yeah.
Got it. But in God's hand, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We put it
Yeah, not in the gun.
Okay. So good. Very good. Yeah. Me and Val was praying when you get these enemies verses. It's hard.
Our fight is not against flesh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our fight's not against flesh.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I believe also, though, there is a point where it's okay to say, I'm asking for you to do what you do. When I follow you, I'm asking my enemies, would you look after my enemies?
Yeah,
and that's not, I don't think that's a wrong prayer.
But it's hard because of our view of God.
Yes.
Like if he changed in the New Testament, right?
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
And not the New Testament, because we jump, like we skip Revelation, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's really Old Testament God.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So we think about this Jesus that,
Well, I think we have such a
hippie Jesus.
Yeah.
yes, and
Precious baby Jesus.
and we have such an emphasis on being kind, which I'm supposed to be. So I'm not even saying that, but it's okay also for me to stand up for myself and to say, this I'm going to love you, but I'm going to put a boundary here.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to come, this is my boundary I'm setting up with you, because I value what God values in me. And I am worth it. And so I'm not going to let you, and I'm going to say, Lord, I love them. I forgive them. I don't feel it today, but I do. And I'm putting them into your hands. And I think that's
That's okay.
That's actually a good prayer.
It's honest.
It's being honest, and it's not from the place of, oof, I'm angry, I want them destroyed. Today, I'm asking, help me, but I put them into your hands, and if they are wrong, I will put them, trust you will look after that. And I think that's okay.
Very good. And something that was really encouraging for us when we were there is this new season in your life with the house church. Now, I want you to share a little bit of how did you get in this place in America, doing like a house church. So you're in Brazil, Florianopolis, 6 years?
Yeah,
Yep. 6 years. Then we go back and start this house church planting.
I think I have a deep conviction we're in a season of change. So many things are changing. Political powers are changing. Everything's changing. And I believe that the church is in the midst of a wrestle. Who are we? And what does it look like to be the church of the future? And so I have a couple, my world's been turned upside down. So for me, the new big is actually small.
Okay.
So I really believe.
Maybe a lot of smalls, right?
A lot of smalls. But I'm being provoked by a relational-based faith.
Okay.
And so if you ask anybody, who's had the most impact in your faith? Nobody says that preacher. It was this person who listened to me, who prayed with me, and my eyes just began to open. I don't know if we're doing this all the right way. So I've had quite a transformation in seeing that our faith is best done in the midst of relationship, and then people who love me. And that's where it's big for us, is to be vulnerable and real, and you will be loved here. And so it's a huge transformation. And so what we're doing is I wanna, how do we facilitate our faith in small settings, but have many, many small settings? So that's a little bit of the journey we're trying to figure out, of how to do our faith in real life, be real, authentic, in the context of relationship.
And especially, we've seen a lot of leaders fall in this last season.
Especially in America.
Really?
And they're not connected to people. They're so far away from a person. They've been so elevated, they're unknown, they're isolated, they're lonely, and there's no accountability.
I got it.
And even for leaders, we let that happen, and we need to bring people back into the community context. So this is so new for us.
Yeah.
So we're still experimenting, and until we've done what we're doing, I didn't like the whole concept.
You didn't?
Because to me, house church to me are people that are critical of the church.
Okay.
Which we love the body of Christ sometimes.
Some parts.
Some parts and some places. Or there's like a prophetic, strange person that gathers people and controls them.
Okay.
Or a very authoritarian person with young people with no brains that just listen and do everything. Very cult-like.
Yeah.
So
that was kind of our definition.
That was our definition of the house church. That was our experience.
Yeah.
And so this is very different than that.
But there was some hesitation because of our experience.
For sure. And we're the go big or go home people. We've never thought anything small was a good investment. It's always throw it out big. We did big things.
Yeah. One thing, like I asked it about one thing, right? The One Thing conference once had 25,000 people, right?
Yeah. Which
crazy.
There's a lot of good testimonies of that, so we don't want to diminish that.
No.
And those serve a purpose. Big serves a purpose, but in order for discipleship, I think you have to do it in a smaller context.
Real transformation. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a huge shift for us. But
and how people around you are feeling it, like.
Well, the people in it with us love it.
Yeah, because they're already.
But many of our friends, I feel like they're looking at us going, when are you coming back?
Some of my peers, some of my friends, I think are like, I don't understand what Dwayne's doing.
And once he gets healed, he'll come back.
What's he doing? It doesn't make sense.
It's a phase.
It's a phase. Yeah. I think some of them really think
I think so too. But that's all right.
It's okay.
Yeah. I like someone shared with me, I don't remember who, about John the Baptist going to the desert, right? And I don't know if America is the same, but this language about the desert it's about a dry season, right?
Yeah.
And no money or
Yep.
no girlfriend or
Totally.
I'm the desert.
Yeah.
But someone shared with me that a different perspective is when you go to a place that nobody saw yet,
Yeah.
have seen yet. So you go to this place, God's showing you this place, and you
Yes.
get there, and there's nobody there, right?
Yeah.
So it's more about innovation than about a dry season, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because like in some years, everyone will go there.
I think so.
And then it's going to be more normal, let's
Yeah.
But someone has to go first,
Yep.
and then it's hard. You get criticized. Nobody understands what
Yeah.
you're doing. It makes sense. But it's so good that you're listening to the voice of God and being bold about it and obeying and being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
'cause
truly. In
it's-
some ways, I feel like I'm walking in the dark, grasping at, trying to do something that we feel the Lord's leading us into. Very much.
Yeah. How to keep the values, but create something that's scalable,
Yeah.
but still keep the values.
Yes, it's hard.
So we're still shaping it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
When I look to Israel, and we ask, like, in Israel, like the nation, what symbol in Israel would be the church, right? What part of Israel would be like the symbol for the church? And we think immediately the temple, right?
Yeah.
We call our church the temple,
temple.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the Jews go to the temple like once a year, twice a year, and we don't go. We don't go to the church like once a year, twice a year. I hope you don't go just once a year. And where did they have their service every week? No, every week they had a service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Saturday in their houses.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the foundation, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you see next, they going back to the houses or they're in the houses,
Yes.
they are not doing something new.
No.
They always did that, right?
Yes.
Every father is a pastor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? You don't have this professional trained.
Right.
Every father is a pastor, and every week there is like a service
Yeah.
to worship God in your house. I think
Yeah.
we got to go
Come
back
on,
to that.
come on.
We have to go back to that.
Come
and
on.
we are thinking a lot about Europe, right? And I think in Europe, that's the way to do it in Europe.
Yeah.
It's not going back to the big temples. They had already that. Right?
Yeah. I mean, what we're doing isn't new. It's
No,
new to
no.
us,
Yeah.
but it's not new.
For sure.
So, like the
It's
church in
more
China, if they're
going
listening
back to
now,
the rock.
yeah,
If they're
going,
listening now.
Oh, you're
Oh,
finally
really?
getting
you
it.
found out that. That's so good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having
We're
us.
so glad to have you here, man.
Oh,
So
I'm
glad.
like
We love it here.
we love just even getting to touch some of your people.
Yeah.
You have amazing people. For us, it's been a joy,
A joy.
a true delight.
Thank you so much. And I'll go to your house again.
Yes, you're welcome.
You are welcome.
I
in
told
our
I
house.
told Dwayne, I think I'm gonna go for 1 year in Kansas City. I said, but don't worry, I won't stay in your house.
I'm like, come.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
We'll figure it out.
We have space. It's okay.
So good. Obrigado você que ficou aqui com a gente até agora, lendo as legendas aí talvez, ou talvez entendendo o inglês. Espero que tenha te abençoado. Pega o link, manda para todo mundo, deixa um comentário aqui que o Senhor ministrou no seu coração. Também se inscreve no canal para você receber todo o conteúdo que a gente está produzindo aí. Deus abençoe você e não se esqueça, você é uma cópia de Jesus. Valeu.